Shelby's direction, and I would join in that. I am pleased that this legislation is moving forward. As I've tried to figure out why we're so slow to have an economic recovery and jobs created, the uncertainty of what Washington, D.C. is going to do or not going to do has a significant component in the decisions that are being made by American business and individuals, including homeowners across our country. And if we can put the certainty in place that this bill provides, in my view, on this day in which we expect to hear from our President about jobs in the economy, this is a good development for this Senate, this Congress to accomplish. And so I welcome the certainty that this legislation will provide. We have had a lot of uncertainty in Kansas. We were one of the very first states to be singled out for remapping by FEMA. And so we have a number of communities that have been mapped and remapped, and the uncertainty of whether or not an individual owner of a piece of property is in a floodplain is one that weighs heavily upon that individual or that business. One of the issues that I wanted to address in an amendment that I offered that you and Mr. Shelby have agreed to include in the manager's or chairman's amendment, and I express my gratitude for that, deals with this issue of communities in which the efforts are ongoing to increase the protection provided by the flood levee and the consequences that that has to the ratepayers who have the need to buy flood insurance. And our amendment that will be made a part of this bill allows for the consideration of those structures in determining the rates that those individual owners will pay. And so if a community has, and the difficulty we have in many states across the country is not only are we being remapped, but perhaps more importantly, the resources to build the levees or to improve the structures are less, not more. And so it's now become very much local effort, a lot less dollars flowing from Washington, D.C., or our ability to designate money to help those communities with their flood structures. And so what the amendment that you have accepted does is take into account those communities who are making significant progress toward improving their levees and allowing the rates for those who live within that floodplain to be adjusted based upon that community's efforts ongoing into the future. And so the benchmarks that have to be attained is that the community has secured most of their funding for the rehab of the levee, having more than 50% of the levee complete, and having a construction schedule that shows completion within 5 years. Again, I appreciate your willingness to work with me and communities that I represent, although this is hardly a provincial issue. It's one that affects all of us. And I thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, Senator. Any other comments?